Hey, what's up, YouTube? I'm going to show you guys a Japan Historics 2 car culture set that is properly scaled and premium detailed. That is obviously your Hot Wheels car culture. This is your Aoshima, which is true to scale 164 and much higher quality, much higher level of detail. The build quality of the Hot Wheels, I don't know if I'd say it's better, but it's definitely more durable, as it's a toy that's made to be played with, and these Aoshimas are made as just replica models. So the Hot Wheels is all tampo detail, and the Aoshima, as you can see, is lensed detail. So I apologize for this shaky camera. Not using the trusted tripod for this one. Here's your Mazda RX3. Now this one obviously is custom. You have the front spoiler, the rear spoiler, the fender flares. And I do have a premium detailed version similar to this, which I've shown. But in this particular case, I'm going to show the stock version, which is a really nice Kyosho. So again, with the Hot Wheels, you have all tampo detail. And with the Kyosho, it's probably not going to show up too well, but it's all lensed detail, lens headlights and taillights. This Nissan Laurel and the C210 Skyline are my two favorite, hands down, without question. The lighting's not good from that angle. This Laurel here is pretty custom too. There's mainly with the lowered stance and suspension and paint. Obviously, the Konami is just a really nice stock version of it, but the Hot Wheels is, I'd say, a little bit large for a 1:64 scale, considering that these Konamis are pretty much spot on for scale. Okay, this is my favorite car of the JH2 set right here, the C210 Skyline, also known as Japan Skyline. They did a fantastic job on this casting. And then behind it, I have another Konami, which I do have this in the Kyosho variety. A little bit different on the headlights. Hot Wheels has the round headlights. The Konami has the square headlights. If we look at the tail lights, though, they should be fairly close, not too far off. From a scale perspective, I think they are pretty close from a scale perspective. Now, proportion perspective might be a different story. You can see the Konami just has a stock stance, whereas the Hot Wheels has the flared fenders with a lowered aggressive stance. And then the last one, and the one that really bugs me the most, is this 510, because there is a massive difference in the size of these cars. This is probably a 1:55 scale tooling. When you compare it here to the Konami, which is a true to scale 1:64 scale, and the fact that the Hot Wheels is a 2-door sedan and the Konami is a 4-door sedan, it's just it's way off. But you know, they're making this to fill a 3-inch blister. So yesterday, in last night's video, when I compared the 510 in proportion to the Laurel, the 510 should be a much smaller car. But in this case, it's a much larger car. It's got these really goofy looking big wheels on it. It's another thing I really like about the Laurel and the C210 is the fact that they're putting more realistic sized tires on them. Here's your overhead of the two. And just to give you an idea of how they should be proportioned, these are both Konami 1:64 scale, and you can see how much bigger the Laurel is. The 510 does sit a little bit higher, but it's not, I mean, that's just a massive difference. So anyways, there is your premium detailed Japan historic set. Sorry. All right. All 5 cars represented. And once again, for the premium brands, we have Kyosho on the RX3. We have Konami on the Laurel. Konami on the 510, Konami on the C210, and Aoshima on the 240. And there you go. It'll be interesting to see what that new R32 tooling looks like. I'm sure it's going to be great. I hope that they work their way through. I know they're not going to, But I am curious as to why they felt the need to retool the R32. The tooling that's out now is a pretty awful tooling. It's probably their worst Nissan tooling. It's easily their worst Skyline tooling. But where are they gonna stop? Because in my opinion, there's a few of them that could use a new tooling, and this 510 sedan is one of them. The 510 wagon is okay. It's a little bit big, but I think they could probably just keep that one and make it work. Although I would love to see it with the Japan Historics 2 treatment of detail. Man, I would love to have that car. But they definitely need to do the R32, and I could probably think, in my opinion, they need to do the 510. And I know that they won't do the 510 because right now that's probably their hottest casting in their entire catalog, which is a massive catalog. So I don't have high hopes about it. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I did get a bunch of work done to the layout. I just couldn't stand how boring it looked. So I added some more terrain to it, which is still wet and drying. That's why it might look a little bit funny, because it is still wet. And then tomorrow, once it's dry, I'll go through and add another layer of glue, because there's so much of this stuff and it's real small, real fine stuff that I just want to make sure it's glued down really, really well. But I think it came out okay. I mean, it definitely looks a lot better than it did. And I think with the newly painted road, which is I went a lighter color, which is definitely more authentic looking. I think it'll look good once I get the trees up. But this side here, I did add a little bit of the coarse turf and some bushes, but I don't know what to do about that gravel lot back there. So I don't know. But it should still work pretty well for videos. Once I get some trees up there, I think it'll be a decent backdrop. So, alright, well, that's it for this video. I know I keep saying it, but the Cadillac video is coming. It's already done. I just need to post it. So I'll get this one up and then I'll post that one. And you all have a good week. Don't work too hard. Hopefully you guys all find some awesome die-casts this week. And if you do, then holler at me and trade it to me.